welcome everyone. My name is Lincoln Clark, and I am the partner in charge of the global semiconductor practice for KPMG in our Silicon Valley office. With me is Scott Jones, a principal in KPMG strategy practice, who will also be presenting today. This webcast will review the results of KPMG's most recent global semiconductor survey and provide our outlook for 2018.
If we think about industry-specific issues that are not kind of global macro, but within kind of the control of the industry and what they have kind of direct purview over, what are the issues that will affect them over the next 3 years? Number one, for several years in a row now, is Asp Erosion. As you get higher volume and more units being sold into IoT in areas that are essentially consumer and home devices, these are less performance dependent, so there's going to be ASP pressure to essentially make sure that you're providing a product to the market in mass volume that will be affordable and drive adoption. So I think if you're exposed to these types of high volume markets, you are certainly concerned about ASP pressure. Whereas if you're in the data center and infrastructure market, you're enjoying much higher margins, and that's probably less of a concern for you. But given the high R&D costs that those types of markets command, that is probably the minority of the companies. Number two, I think is something we're seeing more and more of a theme, which is diverse customer demands. As you start to move outside of the core markets of PC and communications, you need to start putting your products into IoT markets that are everything from your thermostat at home to your refrigerator to elements of infotainment in your car. These drive a lot of different system requirements. Some of them are plugged into the grid. Some of them are powered by a internal combustion engine. Some of them are powered by a lithium battery. So these different use cases, all driving development of a piece of silicon that needs to be able to go meet all of those demands, creates a lot of complexity and challenges for companies. And as they're trying to limit their additional R&D to meet these demands, it creates a kind of a balancing act of how they can keep efficiency but still grow into these new promising end markets. Number three, high cost for equipment. I think you'll see this as certainly an issue for the IDMs, memory makers, and foundries, as the capital equipment to stay on the leading edge is ever increasing. New technologies for etch processes around memory or new lithography within the logic space, such as EUV, certainly are driving up costs. Number four, Moore's Law. So we will have a few other comments on this, or a few slides and thoughts on this later on, but Moore's Law and scaling and being able to keep up with that with both the investment required as well as getting the benefits of Moore's Law has become increasingly difficult. Number five is something that is a bit of a new issue that we've seen creep up into the top five for the first time in a while around production constraints. When you have such robust demand as the industry experienced over the past year, you start to run into production constraints and capacity issues with your foundry partners, and then managing lead times, forecasting correctly becomes a much more important part of your business, so that you can guarantee that your customers are going to get supply to meet important product launches or seasonal activities such as holiday sales. Number six is cross-border regulation. So I think as we start to think about issues with TPP, relationships with European trade partners, and then even NAFTA at home, that you'll see this continue to be a focus as we look for any developments from the administration. Number seven has actually fallen over the past couple of years as the increasing R&D costs. When you have robust growth of your core product lines, as we've seen over the past year, it kind of takes some of the pressure off of R&D development budgets, because they're generally budgeted based on a % of revenue, and with revenue growth, you see some relief there to essentially bring new products to market and increase the amount of dollars that the engineers are working with, both from a headcount and non-headcount perspective.